How you guys doing? This is Tobias from Noematic Elevation Group. I'm here with one of my good longtime business partner, friend, and family member, Antoine Scott. I told you we're going to start introducing you to some of our people here. So, Antoine, I'll let you take it away and introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Good day, everybody out there. Like you said, my name is Antoine Scott, or that's what they call me. I go by many names. Um, I am what I say I am, what I will be. So Antoine is just a moniker that I go by. And like you said, I'm an artist, father, a free thinker. It's very important. And we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff today. But in particular, one of my specialties, I like to say, is understanding the way that we think and how that affects our behaviors, in particularly when it comes to how we view the world around us on a financial level, and talking about the spiritual laws of credit. So when we talk about credit, a lot of times we hear, all these different ideas, but rarely do we talk about the actual, what it really is and where it really comes from. And that's something, when I first got into this, that's kind of led me to delve even in more into understanding of how the system works and really where it comes from. How are we able to actually do the things we do every day, right? Like pay your phone bill, drive your automobile, get your gas, get your groceries, all those things, they have to come from somewhere. And so we've been told one side of the story, there's another side of the story. And that's what I'm here to do. Everyone here has a purpose. So my purpose is to live it, experience it, and then tell it. As an artist, that's really, I see that as my highest calling.
And then let people know, just so they know that you're the real deal, about how much debt have you discharged?
Oh, okay, wow, all right. So personally, to date, I can say at least $500,000. Personally,
Yes. I would give you a little bit more,
I'm
but
going to be conservative, but it's more an understanding of not necessarily discharging the debt, but realizing that debt, just like anything else, is a revolving door. So here comes the spiritual laws, because all of us, a lot of this stuff, energy can't get destroyed, right? Or isn't
right.
created. It just transforms. So a debt and a credit is virtually the same thing. It's
Yes,
just,
it is.
so we've been trained to look at debt as a bad thing, as something to get rid of, when in actuality is a utility to use. So how I see debt is, as opposed to night and or day, it's night and day. It's one side of the equation. So you have debt, you have credit, you have light, you have dark. So it creates a balance, and it is in the middle is where we stand. We're in the middle where we're able to use that knowledge. All right. So um that's one of the things, when you start to understand how it's based on spiritual laws. Financial laws is based on spiritual laws. And I can show it to you. I can prove it to you. It's based on, because really when we understand that spirit means to breathe, okay, well then, right? If spirit means to breathe, then the laws, whatever is based on the human condition. us living here and interacting with each other in this environment.
What
And when
would
you,
you say? What would you say is one of the things that you apply that to? Like when you know how you get kind of stuck, and when we first start learning about this stuff.
mhm.
What's the thing that got you to start standing the connection between your spiritual laws and debt, and how to apply it to the credit?
Well, understanding that everything's a vibration. Really, how I feel about something, how we feel about it affects our life. And when I started to study the FDCPA and FCRA in particular, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the things that I was reading was so amazing to me. I couldn't believe that word. We'll talk about belief in a minute, but I couldn't believe the things that I was reading. Like, what? This isn't this is impossible. So then I just started to uh, exercise my rights by asking questions, sending letters to the so-called my alleged creditors um, as to the validity of the debts. See, because what I read was the Fair Debt Collection Practice, in particular, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Yes, 15 USC 1692. Um, and I want to pull it up real quick. So I'm sure I could pull it from memory, but I would rather be completely accurate
All
because
right, that's just
it was a very interesting, and because it's rare that I even, it's always good to go back and refresh, because every time you go back and go over these documents again, it's just like you read any other spiritual text. You're going to get another sense of enlightenment. Like, oh, this is another thing I could use in my day
you
to get
always see something new every time you go in, man.
this is like, oh, I can use this to get free again, free my mind of, because in debt, right? When you're in debt, stress.
Yes.
Okay, so we want to be, we do yoga, we run, we exercise, take certain types of eating right, all of this stuff to relieve stress. Okay, what about your finances? Well, I'm working hard, I'm paying this off. Okay, what happens if you can't do that? All of a sudden, like, there's a worldwide pandemic, you can't work. What happens then?
It gets really tough to make it, man. A lot of stress, a lot of unknowns. It affects your relationships, your life, your kids. You're carrying a lot of that around.
And that's interesting because that's the exact thing that Congress said over 50 years ago when they wrote this little act. You ever heard of the Book of Acts?
Yep.
You go again, that it's always a parallel, right? And
Right.
it said, here we go, 15 USC 1692. Short title is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And it said the congressional findings and declaration of purpose. Abusive practices. That's their main reason for creating this. There's an abundant evidence of use of abusive and deceptive and unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. Abusive debt collection practices contribute to the number of personal bank, to marital instability, to the loss of jobs, and to invasion of individual privacies. So Congress knew debt collection was, all the things they mentioned was about personal business.
Yep.
How you feel.
Exactly.
Marital stability, that's how I feel. You
Hmm.
going feelings, ain't it? Bankruptcy, that's again, you feel you broke, so you can't pay your bills. Personal. Says personal too. Personal. And they tell us not to take it personal. Just business. Well, business is personal. And you'll see that coming up soon. Uh And then it also says if you go on to read, and there's a lot in here. So the purpose of this is to eliminate these abuses. But really, what really stood out to me to answer the question when I realized what the term creditor meant, when I really realized, and this is in the definitions in 803. Definitions, when you go down to 803 of the same Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it says, subsection 803, definitions, section 4. The term creditor means any person who offers or extends credit, creating a debt, or to whom a debt is owed. But such term does not include any person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of a debt in default solely for the purpose of facilitating collection of such debt for another.
That's very important. Very, very important.
So,
So what does that mean, Twan?
what it means in plain English, it means that if I'll give you an example. Credit, in other words, is like a coupon, an extension, right? If you have a coupon, let's say for a hamburger, you go in your favorite hamburger spot, and your coupon's worth $5. A credit and coupon is similar. Right? It means it's an extension of credit. That's what a coupon is. Same thing as credit. So if I go in to this burger spot, I say, look, I want to purchase the hamburger, whatever. Okay, how do you want to pay? Cash, card, how you going to pay? Oh, I got a coupon. You hand in the cashier your coupon. They ring your burger up. You got a coupon for $5. Your burger's $4.95. How much do you expect to pay?
I expect to pay what the price of the burger is.
Yeah, but if you gave them a coupon for the price of the burger, how much should you be paying?
Oh, nothing.
So credit and coupon are really the same thing. So if
Synonymous.
I export from buying my burger, right? I go into
Right.
Mercedes car dealership, whatever it is. I see this automobile. It's $50,000. Great, I want it. They say, how do you plan to pay? Cash, credit, or cash or finance is cash. Finance is the same thing as credit. So you say, I'm going to finance it or use my credit. And then they say, okay, well, let me get y'all your information. So you give them all your information, just like on the back of a coupon. They got all that information, right? They scan all your information. You give them your name, your birthday, your grandmama's maiden name, your second cousin's bar mitzvah. Or you just buying an automobile. What the? Okay, cool. They come back. They take all your life, got your whole life history. They come back and say, great, Mr. Scott, you qualify. Your credit, your coupon was accepted for this automobile, this $50,000 automobile. Great. They hand me my receipts, just like even if you gave them a coupon at the burger spot, they still give you a receipt, don't they?
Yep.
Okay, so when you purchase your automobile, they handle you all your receipts, sign everything. Y'all, so how much should I expect to pay?
Should expect to pay zero.
Right.
You gave them a coupon.
So then, where did the credit come from?
That's a good question.
That's where the spiritual laws come into play. The credit exists because I do. Do ants use it? Think about this. We're the only creatures on the planet that use credit.
This is true.
We're the only ones who can create it. So when you come in and you offer and extend your information, meaning your name, your address, your date of birth, your social security number, and your signature, you've extended your credit. So these people take your credit because you don't know no better, because we're not trained to know this stuff. We're not taught to be able to handle our own business. So we still, and as in general, the populace are illiterate, because these words that I read here, the general population wouldn't understand it.
No,
Right
they
over,
wouldn't.
because we're looking at it literally when it's really speaking figuratively and spiritually. The creditor. If you don't know that you're the creditor, you automatically lost.
This is true.
Creditor. Well, you gotta, when you start to read the Bible, right, or any other religious text, who are you reading it for? For the
Yourself.
next soul to save? No, you're trying to save yourself. So it's obviously written for you, man, about you. That's first to understand it. You're reading in first person, not third. When you read the law, and you got to know who you are. So that's why you got to understand the definitions. That's why we go into the definitions first. That's why it's the first thing at the top. You got the definitions. What is the Bureau? The Bureau is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Communication means anything conveying information regarding a debt directly or indirectly to any person through any medium. Now, how did I figure this out? I just started reading and I said, oh, hold on. So you got all these definitions, and then we go down a little bit to the page. Go down and I'm reading, trying to figure this stuff out. And I come to communication. And it says, communication, this is subsection 805 of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Now think about it now. We keep talking about still on the topic of being a creditor, and how does this attach to us spiritually? And no matter whatever what we think spirit is, right? Because spirit really means your breath. Because if once you're alive, you created this, you can create your life. Whatever you choose to focus on, you create your life. No matter what it is. So you're the creditor. When you have a job to do, you got to get up in the morning. You got to get yourself prepared to get out the house. Or if you're working it from home, even work in the house. You still have to do it. And then after you've done your job, that's when you get your money. Right? Well,
Right.
wasn't it who still did it? It was still you. It was all you. Same thing with this. When we come down to communication, right? Talks about communication. So this is how I figured it out. I was like, okay, well, it says without the prior consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector or the express permission of a court of competent jurisdiction, a debt collector may not communicate with the consumer in connection with the collection of any debt.
Say it one more time for me so they understand, man.
Look,
Just repeat it one more time, because I really want people to get an understanding of this, because this is the very, very crux of your credit repair or restoration. Listen very closely to what he said.
no. Let's make this make sense for all of us, right? If you allege, because now I'm gonna keep using these words allegedly, because that's what is used in law. These are the laws. This is the. I'm not making it up. It's right here, FDCPA. They'll see it. 805. You can go download it for yourself. I'm no genius just because I'm a genius, you know. So look, and I'm gonna read it again, and then I'll break it down. It says communication in connection with debt collection. communication with the consumer generally without the prior consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector or the express permission of a court of competent jurisdiction, a debt collector may not communicate with a consumer in connection with the collection of any debt. What does that mean in English? If I didn't tell you directly to call me or communicate in any form, because remember, communication is any medium. That means smoke signal, carrier pigeon, tap dancing, singing telegraph, and any other ones you could possibly think of that they might use today, besides those three popular ones I just mentioned. You can't talk to about it unless I said you could. So who's the creditor? Because if you can't communicate about a debt to me, then that obviously mean I'm not a debtor. Isn't that obvious?
Very obvious.
You can't communicate about any debt. It said any, without my prior direct consent or the express permission of a court of competent jurisdiction. What does that mean? Court of competent jurisdiction. It would mean a court that actually is responsible for adjudicating or overseeing such these cases, or the same court who actually said, you know what, this act, we're going to accept it, right? So that would be the federal Supreme Court. So you think ABC Debt Collection Company went to the federal Supreme Court before they called you or sent you a letter or appeared on your credit report? You think any of them doing that?
Nope. All my years of doing credit repair, I haven't had one debt collector or alleged debt collector or alleged creditor go to the court and get some sort of ruling or anything like that before they contacted you. They can't.
And if they go to court before they contact you, it was a clear violation of law. Is here in subsection 813, which is civil liabilities. And this is just an overview, guys. You got to go and do this research for yourself. Which brings us to the next point. Fear. Fear and ignorance go hand in hand. They're great bad buddies. They like PB and J, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Magic and Kareem. Yo, this is crazy combination. And not, you ain't gonna beat them unless you join. What's that mean? I'll explain by telling my story. And hopefully for me telling my story, you can get and glean from my own experiences with dealing with the fear. Because again, fear and ignorance go hand in hand. Now, you can kind of fairly tell that I have maybe a little bit of handle about what I'm reading here. Just a little bit. I might know a little bit. I might understand it a little bit. But even with that, me knowing this, without me practicing it, it means nothing. So, you ever heard that old saying, knowing is half the battle? It truly is. You just did half the work. If you know something, it only works when applied. So, what I did when I started to learn this information, I wanted to put it to the test. I wanted to see. And I had already went through a foreclosure, a divorce, separation, all this stuff. So I was already at zero, so I had everything to gain, nothing to lose. And once I realized, well, if y'all can't contact me about the debt, and I'm the creditor, why am I paying you? If you can't communicate in any form or fashion, why am I paying you at all? So,
and it's interesting because what he's talking about is this is how we were taught. So we're doing things out of automation and programming. So I'll let you finish, but I wanted to point that out for everybody because that's very important where he's going with this.
Right. And when we talk about this automation and programming, right? I like that word taught because again, it's about the language in which we use. Because taught means constricted. It's, that's what taught can mean, constricted. So this collar is taut around my neck. It means taut, means tight. So just because we were taught to be debt slaves, we weren't taught how to be, we didn't learn how to be creditors and then masters of our estate and then be in dominion of really our own life. We were taught how to be debt slaves. So a part of that, and the great part of it, is not teaching you anything. You're not learning nothing. You're just out here and hope that you figure it out. My best financial advice I got was from my oldest sister was, my parents couldn't give me no financial advice. They was always in financial distress. So what financial advice can you give me? So my sister said, save for a rainy day. Okay. It rains a lot here, ma'am. At that time, man, it rains a lot here. So what you talking? That's a lot of savings. So this is the type of, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who experienced this. So, and in this journey, what I had to learn is all about me. It had nothing to do with no one else. It's not a knock on the way that I was raised or anyone else's. It's just, we're here to learn. So the best way we learn is through experience and observation. So if I'm observing you and you can't do it, it doesn't make sense for me to keep observing you. I had to learn from someone else. And that's how I came into contact with the Redress Right organization by searching for this information. And a friend of mine, Barron, told me about the Redress Right organization. And these were the first people. Because I said, once I started reading this, I said, okay, if this is real, then it has to work some way. Let's test it out. So I started sending out letters and calling credit bureaus and disputing on the accounts that were on my credit. And lo and behold, started working, things started coming up on credit. This was late 2014. Like September, November 2013, I think the first things off my credit. I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. So I kept going, disputing, sending letters. I still had many items to remove. And what happened is they originally took off a lot of the items. But like a year or maybe a year and a half later, they came back and put items back on my credit report.
They did a reinsertion on you, huh?
Oh yeah, they came and did a flim-flammery. Regular stuff. At the time, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was just like, and just thinking about it, it's funny though, but I thought it was like the worst thing in the world. I could, oh my God. I can't believe. But I was already armed with the knowledge that I got it off once, so I know I can do it again. So I was determined. I was sending letters and doing all this, calling every day. Hours and hours of time and effort put into this. But eventually, and I give credit, all credit due to what credit is due. Talking to my good brother Tobias, and he told me about cousin AJ who just went to court and said, yeah, he went to court and got his stuff off his credit. I said, what? He did what? He went to court. So I called AJ immediately. Yo, bro, what happened? What'd you do? He said, man, it's been filed. He told me he had filed the case in the court. And actually the judge ruled against him because he didn't file with the proper statute. He wasn't following with he filed the imprint. But these people play games. If you don't really know, they'll play games with you. They've been running this for a very long time. Does not help them, man. It's not in their best interest to help you. So that's why fear and ignorance is always on their side. But once you put knowledge on your side, you immediately got the upper hand. I mean, immediately. This is bananas. So it's so crazy. You don't believe it, and but we'll get to that. But anyway, so the very next day, he told me, "Well, oh, it's AJ." He said, "Okay, look, what I did was I took the cover sheet from the case and I faxed it to every um, credit reporting agency." So this is around like 2017 by this time. And I had been going back and forth with these people almost like a year and a half trying to get this stuff off. You feel me? And this is
Hmm.
my I'm cleaning my credit. So it seems as if the things that I was doing from the beginning there weren't working. Um, so they were like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They were 609 letters. You can say, oh, 609s in the world. Damn, we don't give a goddamn about that shit. So, okay, cool. When I filed them lawsuits, the very next day I went and filed a lawsuit on every last person reporting on my credit. And then I faxed over the the cover sheets. By that Monday, this was like a Thursday. By Monday, I got my first phone call. By Tuesday, I got my first check in the mail.
Hold on. You got a what? You
Got
got a
my
what
first
in the mail?
settlement check in the mail.
So you're telling me you got paid from repairing your credit?
Yes, sir. 2007. Was that 2000? Yeah, 2017. So that was the first, and subsequently, all of these big. I'm not going to name them because that was part of our settlement. But I don't care. Sue me.
How
But
did it
anyway,
feel? How did it
um,
feel taking that check to the how did it feel taking that check to the bank, man, and knowing that you got that off of your mind and studying?
look, it felt great, and every time I go to the bank, I make sure I look like a complete bum. So they'll have me in there for. I like to play with people. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I like to play, so they now understanding why I got a check from these corporations. So what do you mean? Yeah, go ahead, cash it to cash, sir. No ain't no deposit. And I know it's liar something. Go ahead and bust me down. Cash me outside, sir. But yeah, so that was the first check. Now, mind you, it wasn't a huge amount. I'm not gonna go ahead and say like, oh, but going from not being able, the frustration, the fear of not being able to do anything to now I'm getting paid. That was the first check, and subsequently, every out of the seven that I filed, six of them settled. The one that decided to test the water jumped in there and got boiled, got blanched, and then I got a judgment against them. Because if you do the process correctly, they can't win. And the first, and I'll save this for a later day. Some of the things that these little tidbits are really like trade secrets. Because once you get this stuff, boy, ain't nothing they can do against
Yep.
you. Not a secret, and it ain't. It's just knowing who you are. I'm the creditor. Simple as that. And that's how I'm the average Joe, but I just figured it out. So the thing about fear, right?
Right.
It's a real thing. So now let's say I did this, I did all these things. And then it took years for me to do it again. It took a year, I did it again, 2018, 19, I think, the end of 18.
And
Um,
when you say do it again, you mean you went
same,
and got funded, right? You
yeah,
went and got funded, and
mhm,
then you fix your credit again, right?
yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's clear that when he's saying do it again, that he actually ran the bag up.
Now listen now listen to what I tell you. I'm doing this because I realized that I didn't know anything. I was completely ignorant, and it frustrated me to know it. because I fancy myself to be some type of intellectual. But at the end of the day, I know enough to know I don't know shit. And it frustrated me that I was afraid of something. But really, I didn't like that. I didn't like being afraid. So, and that's no one wants to be afraid because you, it's the vulnerability of it, right? So I was studying and studying and studying this stuff. And, but realizing all the time and giving myself enough time to accept the emotion of my new reality. That's one of the things once we start delving into it, no one's preparing you for this new reality because no one really sees it as another dimension of life. When you see things differently, when I get a bill in the mail, I'm happy. Like people get bills in the mail, man, it's a bill. What's the difference between a dollar bill and a gas bill and an electric bill?
Very interesting.
Because they got our perception skewed. So we're always in perception as a debtor as opposed to a creditor. If I'm a creditor, anything that I see in the mail is a check. Cash. Cash me outside, sir. Thank you. If you can't prove I owe it, you owe it. It's kind of how it plays out here. So what? Ignorance is the biggest thing going. That's the only advantage. So once you educate yourself, you got full advantage. The world is your oyster. And it's 100% lawful. Forget legal. Do what I'm doing is 100%. That's why I'm going to court. That's why I take them to court. I got 3 cases jumping right now.
He be cooking, y'all.
See, this is what I understand, right? The system's not changing. And nor should it. Works perfectly fine if you know how to work it. And what took me so long to just accept this is because no one else around me knows what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm talking about. It's almost like I got a cheat code. And I'm trying to explain this to people. But you can't. You just got to do it. And then explain. Just like I'm explaining it to you and to everybody else. It sounds amazing. It is. Sounds unbelievable. It is. So what I'm telling you is don't waste time trying to believe it. Educate yourself. Get the knowledge. And just do it. Figure it out and just do it. I wasted so much time trying to believe because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to believe. All you gotta do is believe. No, all you gotta do is count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. If it don't add up, then you better start subtracting. Simple as that. We ain't gotta believe nothing. The law says this. Did you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? You didn't? Okay, you lose. Bam. Nothing to believe. How simple is that? It's nothing to believe.
When they made the laws, especially the FDCPA and the FCRA. He read why Congress made it, but it is for the consumer. They made it really simple, even though it's codified in the U.S. Code. They actually took it and put it in a little booklet for you. Really, really simple. And they got it down to where you can even order the booklet online for free, and they'll send it to your house if you don't like to look online. They got apps. I study it every day. Every day for at least an hour I read. That's one of the things that I study. I think the FDCPA is only like 28 pages. And the FCRA is 180 something.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the best reading you ever did in your life. It'll actually create money.
Yeah. I mean,
seeing it.
This process right here, I mean, even with look, I went so far as to having my automobiles repossessed. I've had them, and I sue them and then get paid, and it's off my credit.
Yep.
Foreclosures, personal loan, credit card, whatever it is, doesn't matter because they're not following the rules, and they're hoping that you're not paying attention.
Exactly.
That's it. Sounds like I'm scamming, don't it? I'm not. They are.
And I got an interesting fact for you. 85% of people do not respond to third-party debt collector letters or go to court. That's why they're so confident.
Right. You said 85 or 95?
85. That's a little bit over 8 out of 10 people don't even, they just ignore it.
Now let me give you a fun little fact. 9 out of 10 debt collectors that are sued by a consumer settles.
That'll let you know right there. How many of those did you say you had? You had 6 out of 7 that didn't even get into court, right?
Yeah.
Didn't even have to go into the courtroom.
Nope. Now the next time I think I filed about the same amount, about 7, and same thing. I got 2 of them that settled. No, actually, it was like uh, it was 2 that went to court and then 5 that settled.
It's not a bad average, brother.
And anytime I go to court, I win. So I won. Really, I got 100% better than average. When they call, sir, I got 100% better than average. I have no problem. I'm gonna be down that court. Come on down. Jump on in.
And it takes a while. It takes a while to get the confidence, even after you know the stuff to go into court. And
Oh yeah, they do
a
a
lot
great
of
job. There's billions of dollars being spent to keep us afraid of using our natural resources. One of them being the legal system. That's ours to use. Shouldn't just be used against you. I can use it just like anybody else. It's air out here, so I go and you. Oh, okay, you in my way? No problem, bro. I ain't gonna argue with you. Tell it to the judge, sir. If you pay me, arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you about it. We live in a logistic society. That means, and if you're unaware, you probably would be, but the legal system is changing. The whole legal system is in a frenzy. Why? Because people are realizing that corporations have been living off the dime of the people, living off the splits, blood, sweat, and tear, and credit of the people. So what the corporations are doing, they're switching to mediation from litigation. So, I mean, this is a whole industry-wide shift, and the general public they're not really aware of that because people are getting, this stuff 10 years ago, it was so fringe. It was like a lot of these people going to jail, getting raided, all types of stuff like these people were doing some. No, this is regular civics that should have been taught in 5th grade. What are we talking about? This is stuff that should be taught in 5th grade. 5th. No, actually, it's kindergarten stuff. This is kindergarten stuff. 10 years ago, they kicking in doors. So, but now it's being more commonplace, and the knowledge is getting more out there. You can get it on any YouTube channel and find it about suing a debt collector, claiming your credit, or any of that stuff. But back in the day, it wasn't like that.
No, it wasn't.
So for me to go into court and sue someone that I actually went and purchased the automobile, yeah, they repossessed it, yep, and I sued your ass. I sure did. That was unheard of. And even the people who was helping me, they had never done it. They ain't know nothing about it. So I was out there all by myself as a frontiersman. So when you out in the water by yourself, you feel me? Sorry, I'm keeping. When you out in the water by yourself, sometimes you look, damn, what the hell I do? You look around, you don't see no land, 360. I don't know if
Pioneers.
But I went through it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I did. And through that, I learned so much. Now I'm a monster. It's ridiculous. It's like monster with it. But even that, I kept my head because is really about mastering yourself. It's not about an adversary fighting anybody or these people did you wrong. No, it's really all got to do with you. That's where these spiritual laws come into place. Taking full responsibility for you, your actions, and your thoughts, and your behavior. That's what all spiritual laws talk about. And even with credit, right? They want us to say, oh, be a good steward of your credit, pay your bills on time. No, being a good steward of your credit is understanding the rules that govern the game. Where is that written down? What law that say you should pay your bill on time?
I haven't seen one.
It don't exist. But we're all supposed to be responsible adults by paying your bills on time. Where's the laws that say this? Really, the other laws that I'm reading says that really, if you're making a payment, they should be sending you some type of statement showing that it's an investment. Payments are for investments. Did you get anything back from, your AT&T or getting any of your investments back from the payments that you're making? All these payments that we make, all the people making payments. When do we get back on our investments?
We will show you how to get that back. I do have something for what he's talking about, and we'll get into that later. But this is the beginning steps of it.
Yeah, so it get deep, but it's not. That's the bad part of it. It's not really deep. It's really right there in the surface. It's in your face. If you look at any of your statements on any of your bills at the end, that's why they don't want you. That's why they're trying to push everybody to online. They don't want paper because really don't want you reading. If you ain't reading, don't start now, damn it. You ain't been reading.
So what you saying? You got a bunch of people out there making statements, a bunch of corporations making statements.
Awesome misleading. Awesome misleading statements. So we can go on and on and on and on, but this is just the introduction. So what I've decided to do, and it took many years to get to this point for me, I really realized it was an internal work that had to be done to get to a point to you can say, okay, and I've helped people for years. I taught with, I definitely can say I've helped people discharge over $1 million, or probably more, in personal credit, student loans, bankruptcies, or whatever. But more importantly now, I realize it's time to start sharing this gift on a mass level, right? So there's been a constant wave of credit repair, credit repair, credit repair, credit repair. It's awesome, it's great. But what people don't realize is the reason behind it is because these people are breaking the law. That's why you can get your credit clean. Because every debt collector, and I mean every last one of them, is breaking the law. Now, because they are breaking the law, they have a civil penalty attached to every single item that they put on your credit if they didn't do it properly. Now, this is one of my favorite statutes. I live by it.
You see, he's getting giddy, y'all. This is where the money come in.
Right? Because everybody, my cousin clean credit. Bet you your cousin didn't tell you this. Because your cousin ain't went through it. See, everybody's cleaning credit. They ain't cleaned their mind. Our mind is tainted because we still think somebody giving us credit. We ain't changed our mind. We still think somebody giving us credit. So you cleaning, I can clean your credit. Credit don't, even that term, repair credit. Credit don't need to be repaired. Bad credit. What the hell is bad credit? And that's bad good. That's some what? That's some negative positive. What? It's an oxymoron. These terms, and the whole point of it is to keep you ignorant. Because I think if you think if you what it said, if I owe you, you'll never be broke. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but what I was civil penalties, civil liabilities, right? Now think about
Right.
this. Now, with the debt collection and being big as it is, billions of dollars, and the laws being that it is, and right now credit is you see credit repair everything. They got it on commercials, TV, internet, social media, lawn signs, flyer everywhere you go. You see credit repair. Let me ask you, all those people out there with the credit prayer process may have done it before, may have thinking about it. Has anybody told you about the civil liabilities that are owed to you for any item that's been removed from your credit?
So
All this,
you're saying that you can get paid even after something is removed from your credit?
oh yes, sir. Actually, that's actually what happened with me. By the time I had sent uh, the cover letters to the bureaus, they immediately removed everything. But that didn't stop my lawsuits. So yeah, they was off my credit, and then you still had to pay me. So in sense, you getting off my credit means you got to pay me.
They had to pay a fee?
Well, you have to pay a civil liability. Now, what is that? Civil liabilities. This is 15 USC 1692K. Those who want to look it up themselves. Subsection 813, civil liabilities. Amount of damages, except as otherwise provided by this section. Any debt collector who fails to comply with any provision of this subchapter. So it's 14 subchapters. And in the subchapters, it can break down to 10 parts in one subject. Think about it. So anything, I got you on one thing. All I do is you ain't cross one T and dot one I. I got you. Think about this. That's what any means. If you violate any of this stuff, you owe. All right. So let's continue. Any debt collector who fails to comply with any provision of this subchapter with respect to any person is liable to such person in the equal amount of the sum of any actual damages sustained by such person as a result of such failure. And in the case of any action by an individual, such additional damages as the court may allow are not exceeding $1,000. Oh, wow. So what does that mean? That means if a debt collector came after you for whatever amount and it cost you whatever amount, hiring a lawyer, fine, like that, whatever you had to do, and loss of job, loss of pay, anything that could have caused you actual damages, you can sue them for that.
So you mean if I like say I needed to go get an SUV because my family was growing,
Mm-hmm.
and the SUV was $85,000, and I got
Mm-hmm.
turned down because this debt collector was on my credit? Are you telling me that I can get actual damages for $85,000?
Yeah. Plus a
Okay,
thousand.
I just wanted to be clear.
Plus to $1,000 for each occurrence. Okay, so each occurrence. I think that's what it says. Actual damages, sir. They didn't tell you that, but they rushing to get your credit clean. So in essence, what we do is we help you turn debt to cash.
And this is some of the strategy stuff um, that I was talking about on a couple of the videos of the now what, knowing what to do after you get this stuff, get the money, how to go to court, all of that stuff. when we're coming with these packages and this stuff and these things that we're putting together for you guys, these are people who have actually been through it. It's not we didn't go watch no YouTube videos and then come regurgitate something. This is actually people who have went through the whole process, went to court, learned all of these things about how to get cars and houses and how to use the law to your advantage. So just wanted to come in and let you guys know that you got some real people up here. You can go ahead and continue, my brother. I get giddy thinking about it when you say 1692K. My bone goes off a little bit.
think about it to even, you know, we not only have done it, we're doing it. So we still active. We outside, as they say.
Yep, we're off the porch.
I already know I know who my real ops is. I ain't confused. You feel me? So I got my scopes on who I need to got more. And that's but is a sweet thing because even there's nobody to blame. There's no enemies. There's no fight. There's nothing. It's just acceptance. That's it. Just accept it as what it is. Just like you accepted that you got to go to work and you got to pay for this, you got to do for that. You accepted that hard life. Accept the good life. Accept it ain't as hard as you think it was. And that's really one of the biggest parts. That was one of the toughest parts for me. That what? Nah, this thing. What? No, it can't be this easy. It can't be.
What would you say about cognitive dissonance and how to use that to your advantage?
Well, I think the main thing about, I don't know, cognitive dissonance is the brain's ability to, it's like its fail-safe mechanism or like a firewall. So when we start learning new information, the cognitive dissonance is the sensation of our neurons. When we start firing, that's how our brain creates new information. We start to fire off neurons, and it creates a synapses or connection between new learnings. What our brain does, though, is use dampening receptors to shut all that new shit down. We call it doubt, but really it's a chemical reaction. So chemically, our brain is designed to keep us in line. When we learn something, this is what we're supposed to do. Everybody else doing that, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So cognitive dissonance is that phenomenon. But what you understand is once you start to practice what you learn and giving yourself the opportunity to just absorb your new reality, you see the cognitive dissonance starts to subside. So one of the things I had to do is, even after doing a lot of this stuff, I had to just kind of stop for a little bit and let it, like, this is this is wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo. And I had to give myself the time for my brain to catch up to my new reality. A lot of the things that is done is because we do it based off emotional decisions. When we make money decisions, when we make financial decisions, the things we're doing it based off emotions. We didn't know that. We didn't know why we're doing that, but that's how the system has been set up for us to, instead of making logical decisions on things that are only should be purely logical, we're basing them off emotional decisions. So once I realized that about myself, I had to sit still, give myself the time to accept the new reality. I don't have to be in a rush. I don't have to do any of that. I just have to accept rationally this is what it is. Logically, this is what it is. Once I want to go do something, if y'all don't follow this, that's fine. You don't have to. The judge is going to tell you you got to. I don't know. There's always a solution because it's already figured out. The problem is already there. Math, There's no problem on the planet that math can't figure out. That's why they write these things in codes, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the code, sir. Not really to discuss about it. So once I started to just be more patient with myself, and give myself the time for my brain to catch up to my new reality. You got to do that. You know, that's an important part about it. That's another part of that spiritual care, being gentle and forgiving with yourself. You didn't know what you didn't know. No one to be asked, no one to be mad about, no one to be upset at. Oh man, if I knew this, what I was gonna do. You didn't know what you didn't know. Who can you be mad at? There's nobody.
Absolutely.
And I can really show. I mean, and this is one of the, and I'm gonna close it out soon, but I want to. The most final one of these critical points is not blaming anymore. Get the blame game out the way, right? And I want everybody that's listening to do a little homework, and I want you to go look at a dollar bill, a regular old dollar bill. You know that dollar? It'll be fun. As a matter of fact, I think I got one in my pocket. Ooh, look at that! Isn't that convenient? What a coinky dink! Just so happen to have a good old dollar bill. Let me see if I get in here so y'all can see it. I don't know if you can see it that clear, but there's a lot of information on this little note right here. You see up there where it says it's a Federal Reserve note, right? Serial number, it's a lot of information, but there's real writing that here at the top. You can't quite see it, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain it for you guys. Right. It says right here, this little phrase, that page right here says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Now, if I held up this dollar and I asked the average Joe on the street, is this money 9 times out of 10? The answer is going to be yes. Wouldn't you agree, Tobias?
I would agree.
Okay. So then my next leading question is, okay, well, can you show me anywhere on the dollar that it says, is this money?
Doesn't say anything there. It says legal tender.
Okay. So then my next follow-up question would be, what's legal tender?
It's a good question.
Now, if you're in earshot of this video, you're over 13 years old. I'm not even giving you 18, 13. And you've touched one of these. You've seen one of these, and you don't know what legal tender is. Whose fault is it? Whose fault? It's a rhetorical question. This is the beginning of understanding who you are. If you can answer this, then you and all the rest of the stuff that I'm talking to you about makes sense. Because once you start to understand what legal tender is, and hold on, what? Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. Legal tender, a payment once offered. Here we go. That again, offer. A payment once offered for a debt, whether in coins or in banknotes, because this is a Federal Reserve bank note, it must be accepted. And if refused, it extinguishes the debt. Poof. It's gone. Extinguishes means to put out. That's what extinguish means.
I suggest everybody look that one up and study it. Legal tender.
Now let me break that down in layman's terms or in plain hood English. Ebonics. What it means is this: if I offer you $1, whether you take it or not, the debt is paid. Now it says it right here. This note, not these notes. This. Now, whose fault that you didn't know that before you run or seen this video? It was my fault. I didn't know. I've seen plenty of these in my life.
Yep.
There was nobody stopping me from sitting down and reading one of these and then going back and then figuring out what it actually said and meant. I did a lot of creative things, ways and dreaming and figuring out how to get some. Never took 1 minute to figure out what it was. Whose fault is that? We talk about the spiritual laws. Credit is acceptance. Responsibility.
Definitely something that I think people need to marinate with a little bit. And you might have to watch this a little bit more than once or over and over, or pause that part. That was a very important part on understanding how to even comprehend what you're reading and taking it in with a different lens from a different angle.
Look, if it says all, it means all. It says all debt, public and private. As simple as that. I can't get no plainer than that. So, hold on. You mean I've been walking around with Jesus in my pocket? Yeah. Because it said all debt, right? Public and private, right? For all y'all Christians out there, that's what Jesus died for, right? Debt was a sin. Yeah. Spiritual, remember that. It's already here. You walk around with it. That's why it says on the back, in God we trust. In God we trust. Okay, what's the trust? Because this is illegal. It's a legal note. So everything on here is legal. Because everything's legal. Even on the street, if you did something, I gave you the money. You bound.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what you say? Okay. In God we trust. What that mean? That means a trust is an agreement between two persons. One person is holding something for the other person. Oh, so what that mean? God was holding something for me? Yeah. Legal tender. Yeah. So once you just show this note, this note. Don't say these notes. It's not the almighty dollars. It's the almighty dollar. And actually, the dollar is a derivative. So all these notes are derivative. Derivative means division, means divide. And bust it down. Y'all know what that means, though. Y'all know what bust it down. Breakdown. Y'all know what it means. Derivative. So actually, a penny is worth more than $1. But because we don't know the language, we know every stat, every sport, every musician. That's cool. And don't feel bad because I've asked millionaires this very same question. And what did they have to admit? They didn't know. So it's not about how much money you got. It's about what do you know what it is. Because it says right here, all debt. It says right here on the note, all. That means all. Usually. All usually means all. And guess what some means? When we talking about legal terms and accounting. Some means all. So if I pay some debt, then I paid all of it. Whose fault is that you didn't know that? It's right here. Oh, the man trying to keep us. What man? What man? Him?
The boogeyman. Everybody's making up the
Next
boogeyman.
one. Here's the next one for y'all that look like me. Have you ever seen anybody that don't look like me wearing that name? Take your glasses off so we get close up so you can see the resemblance. Have you? Think about it. Wake up. Wake up. It's right in our face. I'm telling you right here, all you need is one of these. All you need is $1 and a dream. What fault is that, though? So, you know, it's gonna take some studies, not gonna come overnight. But luckily for everybody, those people like myself, like Tobias and others, were pioneering the way. We're here to help. And I'm always I'm willing to share my information with others who want to be helped, who want to get free, so to speak, because that's what we're here to do. We're supposed to be free, not freedom, not freedom and rights and privileges. We're just supposed to be free. That's it, just free. That's it. Not worrying about I pay for this. Oh, they're gonna kick me out. Oh, no, just free.
Supposed to be enjoying life and your time here.
Right.
Not stressed out, not running around trying to figure out how you're gonna get your next meal. This credit thing can provide a lot of great things for you. Especially, we weren't left any kind of trust funds for those of you who were. More power to whoever your ancestors were. But 90% of us is gonna have to start from the bottom, and it starts with your credit and level up from there.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. We do got a trust fund. It's right here, sir. We do.
That's true.
We literally got one. Now it's up to you to figure out how to use it. That's what we're here to help you to do. Learn how to use your trust fund.
That's true. I'll give you that.
That's what this whole credit. That's what credit is. This is part of your trust fund. So what's happening is people that you put in these financiers, because what finance means is the science of managing large sums of money. So now that we taught you, they're not lending you anything. None of these, when you go into the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it says nothing about them lending you anything. It says they allegedly loaned you. Alleged. What does alleged mean? That means it could or couldn't be. And when we get to the nuts and bolts of all of it, if they're using your information, like your social security number, why do everybody guards their social security number? Why is that? Because we already know off the top it's credit. So if you're giving it to this company and they're using it, then they're using credit. Why am I paying you if you already got the credit? What am I paying you for? Paying for financing. You're paying because you don't know how to manage your own money. So they're managing it for you. That's what you're paying for. Because you don't know none of this. That's what you're paying for. It's as simple as that. Because you don't know none of this. You don't know what this is. Because if you did, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
You'd be set up totally different as well.
So the thing is a play on, again, it's playing on our emotions, because we taught by paying every. We're good, responsible. We're good and responsible. Good and responsible, because I pay my bills on time. That's the first thing I get out the way. Well, why do you think Robert Kiyosaki said the rich people, wealthy people pay themselves first, poor people pay their bills first? You don't think he know what this? You don't think Robert Kiyosaki knows that no secret? That's not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all thought I was gonna do this. I thought I was gonna be y'all see the owl in the corner. No, nigga, did you see the damn writing right in front of it? The Twin Towers blew up. See, look, I ball it up here. You can see the devil. No, the devil's in the details, sir. Here's the devil. In the details. That's the devil right there. The devil is you ain't the devil you because you ain't reading. Who fault is that? The devil's fault?
And it's one more thing I want you to touch on here. I was looking at my notes. Zero is everything.
Woo! It's my fault, sir. Zero's everything. How is that possible? How is zero everything? Well, I always ask this question of people. What would you have more than in your bank account? More zeros or more ones? If you had another one, but if you had a zero, it multiplies it by 10. How's that possible if it's nothing? How if you had a 0 to 1 and multiplied it by 10? It is nothing. When we talk about accounting and credit, zero is everything. Zero is the only business that we're all in. Give you an example. If you ever work anywhere where you use the cash register, I don't even care if you had a lemonade stand or you sold a product out of your trunk. It doesn't matter. Everybody did the same thing. You start out with what? You got your till, right? So you got to have some money to do business, change, right? So that's your till. So let's say you start out with $100 in your register. You go through the day, you do your transactions, and at the end of the day, you got a strike. What is a strike? That's when you take all your receipts, all the transactions, and all your cash, and you balance it. And at the end of the day, everything got to come down to zero, correct?
Correct.
All right. If it's over, no bueno. If it's under, no bueno. That's business, period. There's no other business but that, bean counting. I sold this many, got this much cash, I have this many left. And then equal out. That's zero. So even the money that you had in the till, that money's not, that's just doing transaction business. That's money's not counting it as profit or loss. It should come out, everything should equal out to zero. You should still have your $100, whatever, $1,000 of food or whatever product you sold, and the rest of your inventory or the receipts to match. And they all got to equal zero. Even if you're coming out your pocket doing it, you still got to get back to zero. Now, what we don't understand about these basic accounting principles is that the bank knows that and they follow this all the time. So when the account is open, you have 3 accounts. You got your account for set off and discharge, which is your zero account. You got your liabilities, and you got your accounts payables and receivables. So when you get these, and I know this because I worked in a bank for several years. So a lot of these things that I went through in my life, in younger life, when I started to understand, because even though we have these people, work in these financial institutions for years, because you really haven't studied the laws, you really don't know what you're doing. So you're just doing something. But when you study the law, be like, oh, this is what I was doing. So, for instance, I worked in accounts payable at the bank, right? So when you write a check, okay, to pay for a bill, anything like that, it comes into as accounts payable into the bank, or accounts receivable, excuse me, accounts receivable. So that means that's funds that the bank is receiving on your behalf. They get the money, they deposit it, and because of modern money mechanics, from your check, they get to create another 90% of whatever you created. You put $1,000 in there, they get to make $1,900. They send out the payment, and they keep the rest, and they deduct it from your account. But because you don't know the inner workings of the bank, you just think, hey, sent a check, it's got deducted from my account, great. Meanwhile, they making all types of financing fees on the back end, flipping and bouncing your money, but you don't have no clue. But they open the account with zero, but you don't know that. So I put the money in this account, they opened it, and you don't know what's going on in the background. So how is this zero really everything? Well, you've seen it right here on the dollar. If legal tender is a payment that's offered for all debt, and it must be accepted, then that means there is no real value. Why put the one up there? If you notice, one is still in a zero.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's zero. Came out of nowhere, goes back to nowhere. In order to balance these accounts, you got to get back to zero. So how are these companies balance their books? Because they got on, you still on their books that you owe. How do y'all balance your taxes at the end of the year? We got all these overages and unders. Well, how y'all doing that? Think about it. You worked at a register. How can these companies afford to have all these? Oh, y'all ain't doing something right, or there's another process that we're not seeing that's being zeroed out, and they still charging it to us. Meanwhile they zeroing. meanwhile they running the zero gambit like, hey, we ain't make no money because he still owe us. And that's what they're doing. So anything they report on your credit, they claiming they're making zero from it. They're losing because you allegedly owe 1099 to you and got you as a dependent at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So companies, we can see a few years ago when they say, they showed the whole thing about this whole uproar about Donald Trump and the minimum he paid on his taxes, his corporate taxes. Donald Trump knows zeros everything. You don't want to make any money. You lose money. Zeros everything. No, all of these businesses, you go look, oh, they made this amount of money last year. Look how much they lost. Mm-hmm. Zero, sir. But then, meanwhile, they got us. I got to make more money. No, that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to lose at an alarming rate
And let you pay the taxes.
Exactly. Because really, in accounting, everything is backward. It's not. So in legalese too, everything's backward. It's not the same as what we think it is. So that's why you gotta sit down and study. It's cool to listen to these videos, and that's cool. And yeah, I know what I'm talking about because I did this. But I listened to these videos too. But after that, we said what 1592. So okay, hey, let me go look it up and see how. 31 CFR 5115. 15 USC 16 at 35. These statutes. Yeah, I can rattle them off. That's cool for me. But it's only as good as applied. So also I learned too to keep things fresh in your mind. It helps to teach others, you know. So those who are interested in learning, um, who want help, and we're here to do that. Yeah.
On that note, before we wrap it up, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you and how they can view what you got going on. You want to drop any of your Instagram, Facebook, website, all that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, you can reach me at creditgods22 at gmail.com or debt to cash 22 at gmail.com. You can check my website out, debt to cash. That's DEBT number two cash CHASH.org. Also credit gods. That's CREDIT GODS.US. Either those, you'll be able to log on and see what we got going on. We'll be doing more classes. We're definitely going to be doing a push to really help people not only restore their credit, but get their civil liabilities on the back end, man. We can't keep leaving this money on the table. So it's money on the table for us to get. It's ours. It's our right to go after it, and that's going to also make a greater incentive for the debt collectors to get right when they know you're serious about enforcing your rights. And that's what we help people do, help you enforce your rights. So yeah, I can get my number two and it'll be directly on this one, but we'll put that in the links and all that stuff. And any other, I have several different things that all other links we need. We'll have that in the right description, right?
Yeah, it's going to be right down below in the description.
Yeah, dope.
Yeah,
But yeah,
man, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always good to sit down and have a chat with you. This is some of the stuff that we do, but we're putting it out there for you guys now publicly. But we talk all the time, man. This is one of my study buddies. We sit up and we break down law, talk strategy, and all that good stuff. And he has a lot of good things, great things going on. And he's a hell of an artist too. You might want to check out some of his artwork. He didn't get into that. He over there being humble. He
yeah, we'll bring that up. I mean, I tapped into that a little bit in the beginning. But is the artist as is, on Instagram and Facebook, you can go check me out. The artist as is. And that's some of the, I'm an artist by trade and profession, and getting into the legal things helped me free me up more to start pursuing my real passion, which is art. This is one of the pieces. See behind me is what I'm sitting on.
he gets it in.
But later. But I don't want to get straight too far off of it. But it's on topic because, like I said, once you understand it and stuff, your mind is free to be creative. It's this game out. Like my daughters, they love to play this game, man. I'm sure you heard of it, Minecraft, right?
Right.
Minecraft, you got two modes. Well, I know they got more modes now, but in the beginning, when it first came out, you had two modes. You had creative mode and you had survival mode. And that's what life is about. You can live in creative mode where having fun, creating, and doing the things you love to do, or you can be in survival mode, doing what you need to do to survive. And that's what they want us in, survival mode. So we're fulfilling their dreams. But we were put here to be in creative mode, where we're fulfilling our dreams. That's what we're put here to do. So, understanding your credit and freeing yourself from everyday restrictions is a part of that. It gets you to where you want to be. So, that's what we help people do.
All right, man. Well, we'll let you get back to it. Like I said before, hit the like, subscribe button. All the links for everything is going to be down here if you need to get a hold of them. I appreciate you coming out, Antoine, and talking to us this weekend.
and maybe we can do this again every so often.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Certain things we really want to hone in on and help people do. Is specifically, uh, how you can go to court and win on a repossession or on a foreclosure, and specific things, and that people have these questions all the time. How can you get your car for free, so to speak? It's possible. Certain things that you can do, but if you know what to do, it can be done. And I know definitely can be, so it definitely can be done. A lot of the stuff that people want to do, but you got to get over the fear of enforcing the law. So anything is possible as long as you're willing to enforce the law. Let's go. And um, you know, we're gonna keep you on posted, man. We got more stuff coming. It's gonna get our website. Everything's gonna be automated, where you're gonna be able to go in and sign up for the service and do everything online. You can see where we're going every step of the way, and then just go from there. But
All right.
bro, I mean, we definitely gonna do this again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Maybe we'll make this a regular thing. Maybe we'll set a schedule, try and work around. I know you're a busy man. We both busy doing our thing, but maybe we can sit down for an hour a week or 45 minutes and kind of get into some of this stuff and get a little bit more specific. I think the people will like that.
Oh, for sure. I know this is a kind of overview, and I try to be more very general, but touch some specific topics so people can kind of get an overview of what we're talking about. I mean, this is real world practical stuff, more than just the theory of it. This is how you can really put it into how you can really put this to work.
Definitely. And
so
I think everybody's interested in learning how to do that, because that's what the whole point is right there.
Using your credit is how you get the bang for your buck. You did.
Well, all right, man.
And going after them people who using your credit. Bang for your buck. But okay, bro, man, I appreciate you, bro. Love you, bro.
Yeah, love you too, man. Good seeing you.
Yeah,
I still gotta come out there and get my shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah,
gotta get geared up, man.
Matter of fact, when we get off here, we'll kick it with that. We'll kick it about that. I got you. I'll go ahead and get you something sent out real quick. I got some pieces I've been working on. So
all right, man. Like I said again, like and subscribe. If you want to hear more of this content, let me know. Send me a message, leave a comment. And I thank Antoine for coming out, and we will pick up on the next video.
All right, peace.